to handle our anger. Veronica Sites joins us this morning. She's an expert in anger management from conflictsresolutionsspeaker.com. And, this is an election year, and there's constant pushing for people to choose sides and to mock or ridicule those who are holding opposing views or who refuse to join in. And I'd love to hear what Veronica has to say about how we treat each other and how we can slow the pace of the fury that we gather while listening to and watching the rest of the world, especially those political hate machines that seem to just churn out emotional stimuli. How can we choose to behave differently or more bravely, Veronica?
Hi, Wendy. Thank you. We've got to think about what's the result that we want from a conversation or even watching. Why are we watching the debates, and what is the purpose? I mean, ultimately we want to be informed, but we need to think about, are we going to become engaged and enraged by what we hear? When we have a plan, we can prepare and then perform according to the results, the personal results we want. I can't think of a political campaign that has ever happened that there did not come a time in it that there was mudslinging or just the tearing down of somebody else's character based on past performance or instances that ultimately build the other up. They're putting somebody down to build themselves up.
Anymore, though, Veronica, it seems like if you side with or align yourself with either of those candidates, your character starts to get attacked because your belief or your support of this person somehow makes you just like them.
Those are, Wendy, I love to point out the fact that when we're focused on what it is that is important to us, we have to recognize that as many people as we poll or give us feedback, those are opinions, and they're going to vary from person to person. As individuals, we've got to really consider how much mental and emotional real estate are we going to give away to others. Mm-hmm. Because doing so is going to have an ultimate repercussion in us, to us, and we don't have to engage in the whole banter of, they feel this way. But unfortunately, our sense of security, our desire to be accepted, and our basic human need to feel secure is under attack when we give up the emotional and the mental real estate. I mean, literally. I guard my mind very carefully. I take opinions as far as they come and recognize, okay, you know what, that's an opinion, that's not a fact. Mm-hmm. The fact is the convictions, the morals, the standards that I'm listening to any debate or that I've aligned with this particular individual, those are crucial to me. But I can look at what you're saying, I can see your perspective, and your perspective of me is XYZ, but I don't have to agree with it, and I don't have to allow you to have an impact on me because you decide to hold that position. You hold your ground, your mental ground, your emotional ground.
Well, what can we say or do about those friends of ours who are they're so passionate about what they believe and feel that, especially social media, let's go there, okay? So Facebook, Twitter, people are throwing their opinions out there left and right. They're sharing news bites. They're sharing memes and pictures and all kinds of things. And I think that, the more we see of each other's opinions in that way, and they're sometimes very heavily handed opinions, the less likely it is that we want to stay friends. And right now it's just such a passionate time. It's really difficult, I think, to base your entire friendship on this, this season of campaigning. And unfortunately, people are doing that. I'm seeing friends who are swearing that, if anybody aligns themselves with Trump, I am taking them off my friends list. It's like, well, wait a minute. You may have known this person 25 years and you guys have been best friends and maybe you have differing opinions. And to me, it's just amazing. And the same goes true for Hillary. If we see somebody who's out there supporting Hillary right now and somebody's very strongly or vehemently against her becoming the next president, I'm seeing threats going back and forth between people who have known and loved each other for a very long time.
Mm-hmm. Social media is such a hotbed for fueling things that would not normally be said face to face. but because it's a profile, it's static. It's a disconnect to the person that's in front of you. If you were having a face-to-face conversation, people are very bold and very expressive on social media. It's so much so that, you have the all caps, they're yelling, they use the emojis and all of these different things.
Uh-huh.
Like you said, it's just, we have some type of a false boldness on social media. And I say false boldness, it's because the friendship ought to be deeper. And that's where really communication skills are so lacking in our society. I mean, it's just a situation where realizing that people are attached to the comments and all that, and we do know that. But at the end of all of this, you clear your friends list, you downsize. There's going to be thoughts after effects of remorse and things like that. You have to ask yourself, how many boundaries do I have in my life? Because when it comes to that, I don't have to let social media become a platform that I engage and decide and determine whether a friendship has greater value than that conversation.
It seems like social media anymore is just a hotbed of hate, and unfortunately, a lot of people use it for that. They're just pushing the propaganda from the people that most of us say, oh, they're not respectable. Oh, I don't even want to follow this. And yet here we are sharing everything that they say. It's just incredible. We're speaking with Veronica Sites. She is an expert in anger management from Conflict Resolution Speaker. Veronica, when it comes to being able to say to a friend, maybe not publicly, oh, I'm just going to declare all of my friends gone off my list, but like say someone does share something that you don't want to see, or you just want to not be a part of their passion for the season of this campaigning. I mean, you can unfollow what they're saying without taking them off as a friend. But also, would you say it would be wise to, directly speak with that friend, or do you think it's something like you just need to sort of tolerate until the season is over?
There's a couple of ways that you can handle it. I'd say that the quickest, easiest way to do it is push the hide button. Just hide it. Put them on restrict till the election season is over. And that way you don't have to see them on your wall. I mean, those are some action steps. However, think about the level of friendship that you have with this individual. If it's somebody you care about, ask them offline. So, I noticed a post, and I was just kind of curious about that. Tell me about it. Put ourselves in a position of asking, because there's a what and there's a why behind that. And then give enough respect to hear what they're saying. You don't have to agree. And Wendy, I have a great book on this that's out right now. It's called Tips on How to Resolve Conflict Before It Ever Starts. When we posture with goals in mind for a conversation, we can actually come to a place of agreeing to disagree without things escalating to the place where the agreement is to sever the relationship. That's extreme.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be happening. We just have to value the relationship. We have to value the person, have honor, respect, and dignity, because the person that is expressing an opposing opinion, they want to be heard just as much as the next person wants to be heard. It's just a lot of times we're willing to bombastically blurt out our opinions, but we're like, we put our fingers in our ears and we're like, blah, 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 blah. We do not want to hear. We don't want to listen to anybody else.
Are you hanging out in my pocket? Yeah, I tend to do that sometimes, so I'm glad that you mentioned that. And not only that, like, I love the hide feature when it comes to social media, and I love that you said talk with them offline, and that you said listen, because a lot of times I find myself, like, I might talk with somebody offline, but I'm loaded with, everything I think, and everything I think they should do, rather than asking them, hey, where is this coming from? And, I saw that. What does this mean to you? Rather than engaging them in yet another debate that's just going to cause strife. So thank you for pointing that out, especially.
Absolutely. The person matters. And when we remain static in our communication, whether it's texting, emailing, social media, there is a disconnect that we are engaging with feeling emotional beings on the other end in the same way that we are at that point when we're, hitting the keyboards and, hitting the buttons, posting the memes. We forget that there's things that we can do to more effectively, if you will, engage in conflict where it doesn't escalate.
Excellent. And you have tips on how to resolve conflict before it even happens. Where can we get your book?
It's actually on my website, conflictresolutionspeaker.com, and any day now it should be on Amazon. The title is actually Conflict Resolution Solutions. It's a quick read. It was written for the digital age. It's one page of tips that work if you work them, and that's the key. I just want to help people recognize we don't have to escalate on every little point or on the road or on social media. There is another way.
Veronica Sites, thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Wendy.
Most welcome.